breakfast on 6PR. Maritz, for 45 years, the trusted name in air conditioning and solar.
Welcome back to the program. It is 18 after 7 here on 882 6P. Nice to have your company this morning. And it's 15.3, 21 is your top today. A little bit of rain around, not much. So should be a pretty nice day out there today. Now, Pauline Hanson's explosive call to sack teachers for brainwashing students with welcome to country is the headline, Millsy.
Well, I think it's over the top welcome to country, if I've read it right. Pauline, good morning to you.
Good morning. And yes, that headline is a bit over the top too. It's the activists who continue with it. But I'd like to start with the educational system in the curriculum, that these kids don't have to do welcome to country, you know, in assembly, in classrooms, everything they do and touching the ground. I think it's over the top and I've had a gutful of it.
Right. Have you had any experience with it yourself? I mean, I watch politicians that tend to event. I don't have a problem with welcome to country. And then it's the start of the exercise, but then every politician, every person that gets up wants to do it. It's like getting up and someone sings the national anthem, then I want to get up and I'll have a crack at the national anthem, and then someone else will have a crack at the national anthem. Is that your problem, or do you just don't like it full stop?
I think it's divisive. I think that it's pitting one Australian against another. We're all Australians. I was born here. And actually, Lydia Thorpe has said, you know, when I'm delivering a speech, go back where you came from. And that's the whole attitude. You know, I don't need to hear this all the time. And people tell me all the time they don't want to be welcome to their own country. We have people come back in Australia, the connection from convict days, you know. So we were born here. Where are we supposed to go? Where's our connection to this land? And I just find it very offensive. It disenfranchises me from this country that I call my own, and it's acknowledging another group of people over every other Australian, not treating us equally.
So why have you honed in on teachers, Pauline? What's your gripe with them?
Because the activists in the educational system, they've been programming these kids through the educational system, a way of teaching to this acknowledgement to countries. So they're actually programmed this way. And a lot of these people are activists with their own ideology. They're actually putting it to the kids as well. And I think this is wrong, and it does not need to happen. Welcome to Country was introduced in the 70s by Ernie Dingo and Murray, I think his name was. And it was just to about the sports thing to do with the haka. They had the haka, so he introduced this. It is not an Aboriginal cultural thing. We have to move on. This country is going backwards, and it's all leading to the land that's given to you. You had the Heritage Act in Western Australia, which was going to be divisive. They threw that out. Then you've got the land. 54% of the land was already under native title, another 12% under determination. They've handed back 6.7 million hectares in Queensland from the state government's freehold to the Aboriginals. So this is what's happening in our country. And if we don't stand up and say, we've had enough, and the people had their say at the Voice, they don't want that division. This is division.
Right. All right. Well, it's an interesting headline, one that's a little bit over the top, but I think you've got a bit of support online as we speak. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Pauline
Bye.
Hanson, the federal politician, and she's probably been talking about something that a lot of people talk about. I watch, you know, you go to the footy, Carl, as a good example. We go to the AFL Grand Final as the event of AFL football.
Yeah.
And they have a welcome to country. People are respectful enough, and they do watch it and they listen to it, and there's Auntie Joy, whoever might rock up, and they burn some leaves, and, you know, you look at them and go, well, they don't look Aboriginal. Well, if they think they're Aboriginal, they're Aboriginal. Let's leave that to the side for the sake of the argument. What I think a lot of people have a problem with is that it's overused. So if we went out for lunch, right, and someone stood up the table, I'd like to acknowledge the First Nations people or the Noongar Nation, is that the most appropriate thing to be doing at that particular time? Do you need to do it at every gathering that you have? It seems that politicians in particular, they are either trained or that's what they're expected to do, and if they don't do it, they're looked on poorly. Yeah, it's like if you rock up at a school assembly, they'd like to recognise the First Nations people.
I think that no doubt that at our state government level, that every single event or gathering is kicked off with an acknowledgement of country. And I think we saw it most recently, or at least I did, with John Todd's funeral. It was done by the MC, and then it was reiterated when the Premier spoke.
So that's my point with it. I don't have a problem with it at the start of a ceremony, but everyone regurgitating the same stuff. I mean, I don't quite understand that if you are respectful, and most people are, they do sit and they listen, and whether they accept it or they just say, I can't basically protest. I'm not going to yell out during Welcome to Country ceremony because you'd probably be told to shut up. But when someone else does it and then does it over and over again, or it's done in a place where you don't think it needs to be done. It's kind of like playing the national anthem before the start of a movie. We used to do that, but we've moved on.
Well, let's see what the people think. 133 882. That is our number this morning. If you'd like to give us your opinion on that.
Charlie likes what Pauline had to say. So does Amanda and Andrea and Sean and Pete and Kay and a heap of others as well. And Matt, what did you think? As Carl said, 133 882.